and we are live for a very special edition of All In on High School Sports. Kurt Valenti, Jennifer Valenti, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for joining us tonight, everyone, for a special show to honor our friend, Coach. We'll refer to him as Coach H. I don't want to mispronounce his name. I know, but affectionately known as Coach H. A coaching legend in northern New Jersey in multiple sports. Softball, girls basketball, even girls volleyball, coaching at the high school level, a little bit at the college level as well. We'll be joined tonight by some people who have coached with him, played with him, played for him, and parents even of athletes who played for him as well. So if you are watching, would like to drop a comment and, have something you remember about Coach H, please feel free to do so.
Yes, absolutely. Like you said, not just a friend of us personally through our, my sister Jody, but friends of our show. He came on numerous times. Big sports fan, came on a sports show, but came on as a high school coach, came on as a panelist just to talk, loved talking high school sports, loved nothing more than coaching high school. And again, this show is dedicated to you, Coach H. By the way, Coach H was today upstairs playing with Facebook a little because he had all of Facebook down.
Maybe he didn't want us to do this.
Yeah, maybe he didn't want. Yeah, I don't know what he's up to, but it's still not right. So, no, this is for you, Coach H. We're gonna start the show with a little tribute video that Jen put together. So we will get to. We're gonna do a little video right now. So we will be right back in about roughly a little less than 5 minutes.
Yes.
So please, everybody, enjoy the video. Okay, we are back live. Jen, thank you very much for that video.
I pulled all those pictures from all of the tributes to Coach H on his Facebook page. So I thought it was, putting it together, such a nice remembrance, and people posting their memories and spanning, his time coaching and how many lives he touched. Just a quick recap of some of his coaching accolades before we let in our first guest. He coached at IHA, NIC, softball is probably where he was, I don't want to say most known, but 7 non-public A titles at IHA, 7 straight non-public B titles at IC, 6 Bergen County championships at IHA, 11 league titles. We also had a basketball sectional title at IC. He has, the most softball wins in North Jersey at 683 and over 600 wins in girls basketball. So, the years he coached, the sports he coached, and the people, again, that he touched along the way. I thought, of course, his accolades speak volumes, but seeing his memory and pictures from so many people who wanted to share those memories, I think just in the video showed another, another side besides just the winning side.
Absolutely.
Should I bring in our first
Sure,
guest?
definitely.
We're going to be joined by, speaking of, some of the people he coached with, we're going to be joined by Michael Pellegrino. So we'll just give him a moment to come on in.
Okay.
And get all set up here. Hey, Coach, can you hear me?
He's getting his audio set up.
Still getting the audio going. Oh, I
should
think
be
we're
good
to go. Hey, Coach, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hi, thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Would you mind just, introducing yourself to the audience and telling them how you knew Coach H so that you can all get acquainted with you?
Yeah, I'm Michael Pellegrino. I started with him. I coached with him at 3 different schools. I coached with him at IHA. Our first year together was back in 1999. I coached basketball and softball with him there. And then I went on to St. Peter's College. When he was a softball coach there, I became his assistant for a year. And then when he left St. Peter's, he became the women's assistant basketball coach there. And then I took over the softball program. And then our final stop together, I coached basketball with him at Immaculate Conception.
Wow, very nice. You knew him for a long time.
Yeah, I knew him for a long time, both on the field and off the court, a lot of great memories. We spent a lot of time together, me, him, Anthony, we spent a lot of time together. It's going to be definitely, he's going to be missed.
Can you tell us a little bit about the impact he had on, you as a coach?
I compare when my coaching. There are 3 people that I always looked up to when I was coach. It's my high school basketball coach, and then it was H, and it was Anthony. I leaned on, especially when I was coach. When I was a head coach, I leaned on H and Anthony a lot. I always called them for advice. I always called them with, what should I do if my team is struggling and things like that? What should I do? A lot of my coaching philosophy came from H. I learned a lot from him. Just the thing that I really liked about H when I was coaching with him was, even though I was his assistant at times, he let me, do things in the program. He never looked at himself like he was better than anybody else. He treated all players equally. It didn't matter if you were the best player or if you were the last player on the team. He treated you equally. If the score was 0-0, or if it was 10-0 in softball or up by 40 in basketball, he demanded that you be perfect and all that. And like I said, it didn't matter if it was the best player or the player that was the last one to come off the bench. He wanted everything from his players, and a lot of times he got it.
Coach, Coach, I want to thank you too for coming on tonight. We really do appreciate it. And Jen obviously went through all the accolades of Coach H. But when you were coaching with him, did you realize how special or what you were a part of going forward? Because when she says, when it's Coach H, you look around and there's Coach Cal, Coach K, he's Coach H because of the guy he was, the coach he was, the programs he built. When did you really become aware of how special it was to be part of his staff and what he was building?
Probably my first couple of years with him at IHA, just looking back and seeing how all the former players would come back to all our games, even girls that I didn't know, girls that I got introduced to later on, just seeing them coming back and how they always cheered us on, how they always wanted us to win games. They even came back to practices. If we were getting ready for a big game or whatever, he had a lot of the former players come back to help us out, and, in practice. Because a lot of times, no offense to JV players, but, when you're going up against varsity players, it's really not, that great in practice. But you have former players come back that played at that level and were playing in college, it really helped us. So seeing all those girls that always came back, and then especially when I was doing the two sports, basketball, so all the softball players came to our basketball games and vice versa. And it wasn't just because they were friends with the basketball team and the softball team. It was because of him. They all loved him. I mean, you saw the tribute you guys put together. You saw the on Facebook and all that. All the people that went to his services Friday and Saturday. He was loved. He did he always wanted the best for his players, and the best for his coaches. If they needed something, he did that. He tried his best to help them with colleges and things like that. He was just a special person.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, reading through the Facebook posts and, and you saw it firsthand, but it seems like even after you graduated, you were still important to him, and I feel like his players really recognize that because he helped them outside of sports and outside of school, and I feel like they really recognize that, so yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I could tell you a quick story after, the service on Friday. A couple of, myself and some of the IHA girls, we went out to get to eat, have some drinks in his honor. And Vanessa Gallis, who I haven't seen in 25 years since she played for us back in 1999, she was telling me stories how he would FaceTime her just to see her kids.
Aww.
Just to see, and things like that. It's as great as he was on the court and on the field, it was things that he did off of the court and off of the field that he should be remembered more for. FaceTiming, one of his former players just to see how their kids are doing. I know Jackie Turco played for us at IHA, her two cystic fibrosis. He's constantly calling her up, checking to see how her boys are doing and things like that. He was a special person, and he's, like I said, he's going to be missed, and I can't say it enough.
Yep, and you know what? We always joked with him. Like I said, he came on our high school show a lot, and it was always, Coach H, hey, we need you on tonight. Can you talk about whether it was where I think in the pandemic when what are you going to do? And he jumped on. He jumped on to talk during softball season, and we always joked with him with the accolades, and when Jen would read it off, we'd be like, that's all you have is 14 titles, and but the thing is, one of our next guests, Joey Fredette, sent me a video when his daughter played for IC, and I think you had the picture in there. It's where, he gets the trophy. We might even been at the game. He gets the trophy, and within a second, it's boom, right to the girls,
Always did that. Yeah, it was always about them, as much as, even when, because I was with him at Immaculate Conception when he won I think it was his 500 game at Woodridge, and they were talking about, and he tried to mention as many former players as he possibly could. Because always made it about them. It wasn't about him. Even when we tried to honor him, saying, hey, take a minute, step back and realize what you've done. 500, 600 wins. I mean, that's a tremendous accomplishment. And to do it in two sports.
Yep.
Right.
I mean, that's unheard of. I mean, it's, there's IHA in the back of Conception where they were before him and where they are now. It's night and day.
You know what, Coach? I always said, and again, I don't remember at IHA, but I remember IC because I was coaching a little bit in the football and stuff, and how he built where he took where IC was, and I mean they're playing in Tournament of Champions of with the IHAs and stuff like that. It's just it's a credit to him of what he put together, and that's just something where no one can ever I mean that's just again twice to do it twice that it's amazing. It's amazing.
Right. 'Cause when we were at Immaculate Conception, we mentioned the IHA teams a lot, because they were so good teams, and we tried to let them know you can get to that level. If you put in the work and all that, it wasn't like he looked down and said, well, I'm at IHA or Immaculate Conception. No, he tried to make them the best they possibly could be, and he went out and he did it.
He did.
You hit the nail on the head with that. He tried to make them the best they could be, and that is obviously the winning came as well, but how many life lessons these kids learned by working hard, seeing their hard work come to fruition. And the players will say it themselves, he was hard on them, but they knew whether they knew it, and it's funny to read the stories again. They're saying, I didn't want to talk to him the next day, but they would all at the same time, teenagers are teenagers. I think they still did realize it was for their benefit. Because of how he treated them off the field as well as people first. Yeah.
I mean, as a coach, you teach them life lessons, that they can carry on into their life, as they become parents, as they get married and things like that. It's not just what you teach them on the court and on the field. You're teaching them life lessons.
100%.
100%.
Yeah.
So any final words for Coach H?
No, just I mean, I live in Virginia now, so Friday I was driving up, and on part of the drive, and I was just sitting back, and I was just thinking about all the great times I had with him, all the great wins. If it wasn't for him, I don't win 3 county tournaments in softball and basketball. I don't win a state championship. I don't go to the Tournament of Champions. And the bottom line is, I don't have the relationships with those girls that I do without him. I love those girls just as much as he do. It was so, under the circumstances, it was so great to see so many of them on Friday. I mean, I wish it could have been under better circumstances, obviously, but it was so great to see all of them. So great to see the tributes. You guys are doing a great job with this and what you have done so far. But he's definitely going to be missed. And, every time I coach a game now or things like that, he'll definitely be in the back of my mind. Him and Anthony, both of them.
Awesome.
Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us tonight. We really appreciate it. You don't know either of us, and you got a random Facebook message. And
Yeah.
So,
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, take care.
Good night.
Okay.
Coach Pellegrino. So
Yes.
nice of him to join us, and great, so well said about,
Absolutely,
encapsulating,
hey, he
who
was there.
H
He did it. He was there with Coach H. Like you said, with Coach Anthony, and part of building that program. On the first one that he built to be an absolute powerhouse.
We have Coach Fasano joining us next. I'm going to bring her in.
Okay,
I'm ready
yep.
to bring her. I will let her introduce herself, just as we did Coach Pellegrino. And just give her a moment to get logged in there. Hi, Coach. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. Hi, guys. How are you?
Good.
How are you, Coach?
Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Would you take a moment and just introduce yourself to the audience and how you knew Coach H? Because you knew him on multiple levels.
Yes, I have. My name is Diana Fasano. I'm currently the head coach at Immaculate Heart Academy softball. I myself was an alumni, so I graduated in 2000. I played for Coach H for 4 years, from 97 to 2000. I graduated, I went on to Fairfield University, and then actually the year after I graduated, he brought me on as his assistant coach while he was at St. Peter's College. And then I got a full-time job teaching, and he had at that point already moved on to the college level, and Coach Anthony had recruited me to come and help be the assistant coach at IHA in 2009. So of course then I was coaching against Coach H, and played him in the first Tournament of Champions, where the mentor played the mentee, and lucky for us, the mentee was successful. And then of course, we played again, leaving line past year, Saddlebrook, when he's been at a few different places since IHA. So it's been a different experience as a player, and then as a mentor, and then as a fellow coach. So I've kind of seen all different aspects with H.
Right.
So if you want to just give us a couple of, we had Coach Pellegrino on as another coach. What if you can just go over a little bit about what it was to play under Coach H?
I think most of us, anybody who knows H, knows how intense he is. And from when I was 14, he's a tough guy. So you had to be tough, and he built you tough. He built you strong. It's interesting at the funeral, even over the weekend, a lot of people were talking about how big his heart is and was, but he was you knew he came from a good place. It always came from a good place. It just was sometimes hard on the exterior. So sometimes you didn't know, from the outside looking in, people were like, wow, that guy's nuts. And that's honest. I think a lot of people would say that. And in his own way, he was a little bit, we were all a little bit crazy, but he really, I think, pulled out the best out of a lot of us, you know, I mean, especially in women's sports, you got to be tough. I mean, I feel like he built a lot of, you know, it's just strength for, you know, just when in this, you know, as all women's sports does, as coaches, we want to instill not just skills for softball, but skills in life. And I think that kind of transcends, like, you know, life in general. So we had a great time always, but he was tough. He wanted, I mean, you could tell, I mean, he's like one of the most winningest coaches. He expected a level of, you know, high level of expectation, and either you brought it or you didn't. And if you didn't, he definitely told you so. So
I did read one of the Facebook posts on his page about someone who said they learned their first lesson about, I think they were a freshman basketball player, and I guess she like turned the ball over like a bunch of times, and she said, I learned that game that it wasn't necessarily the delivery of how it was said to you, but, you know, like that I needed, like what I needed to hear. The delivery wasn't the best, but yeah.
Right. Well, I think everybody, you know, sometimes his tone, you had to like almost like block out the tone, and okay, out of there is something I need to learn from. Like, what's a learning progress here?
So now my next question for you is, you take over the program at IHA. Is there is there some stuff where you look in your coaching models with the, you know, how you coach? Is there do you look back and say, I take that from Coach H a little bit here and there?
I think it's the accountability part. I feel like, you know, as a woman myself, it's a little different in terms of the approach, because I think as I've been there, as like a player, I hope to say, like, I know what the girls need a little bit more. Maybe like I was an assistant coach for many years before. I never wanted to be a head coach, honestly. Somebody asked me that 7 years ago, and I said, no, I'm good as the assistant coach. It's the best job ever, because you're the transition. You're like the good always, because you're the teacher, that you're like the liaison between the head guy and, you know, and the player. And I loved that role. So it's been a transition for me as a head coach, but I feel like I still girls like to know the why behind, like, why are you yelling at me? Like, what's the understanding behind it? Where I feel like boys just do as they're told. Girls want to understand why. Why are you upset with me? What's, you know, so I feel like I try to like take the accountability and like the toughness, but like bring the understanding and the learning. I'm a special education teacher myself. So I feel like I'm right there with them. Like, okay, well, do you understand why you did this wrong? Like, can we learn for the next one? I feel like I kind of mesh both worlds together in softball.
Nice. And Coach, how was it for you the first time you had to coach against Coach H? Whether it was, I'm not sure if your first meeting was one of those big games. I'm sure you guys have crossed paths many times, but what was it like when you had to be on the opposing side for the first time?
I think the first time was it was the Tournament of Champions. So like,
that's big stage.
Oh yeah.
No, it was like a big scene, you know. But the papers that are like, it was actually. It was fun. Like, you know, there was always like, it's excited. You're playing somebody that you've known for almost your whole life.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very nice. One of the, I spoke at the funeral, on Saturday, and one of the parents came up to me, and he was a parent from ISD, and he said, I just have to let you know something. And I was like, he introduced himself, and I said, oh, it's very nice to meet you. And he said that when I got the head job there, I guess he asked, he's like, oh, how do you think she's going to do? And he's like, well, she played for me. He's like, well, I know, but how do you think she's going to do over there? And he's like, she's going to be a great coach. And that really touched me because, you know, like when you're playing against somebody, especially, you know, somebody that, I mean, I grew up knowing him and he taught me, you know, it's nice to, you know, to think about that and him to be, you know that like he was proud of me. And I think I felt that even the day when we played, he was like, we took a great picture. I think I posted on my Facebook of like the two of us right before the game. And it's touching to know that, like, you know, even though it didn't matter really, I mean, of course we want to win, but like it didn't matter like who won or lost that game. It's so exciting for both of us to be on that level in the first tournament of champions and to both share that kind of spotlight. It was nice. It was beautiful.
That is nice. That just kind of speaks to, again, that like softer side there. Maybe, like behind the scenes, even like giving you that compliment. That's so nice. Yeah.
And what Coach Pellegrino was saying is, we always talk about his on the field, what he did as a coach, but he said even better is what he does like off the field and how he still communicates with his ex-players. Like he was saying, checking in on one of the girls, FaceTime and FaceTime with to see their baby and stuff like that. So anything like you wanted to add to Coach about that, like off the field with Coach H, especially as an ex-player?
I would. It's funny just because I live in Saddlebrook myself, so frequently we would run into each other. Like I would be he lives like 3 blocks away, and so like he would always see me like if I was running in town, and he would stop and pull over. But like I feel like it was a lot of us that even like that graduated from IHA with me. It was just like he always kind of kept in touch. You could pick up the phone. And you would run into him somewhere. Oh, I saw H today. It was always a friendly, it didn't matter how long or not you didn't call or you didn't speak to him. Like it was just, you picked up from where you left off. And that's kind of like the relationship I think he had with a lot of people. Because he's come in contact with so many of us over the last, I was trying to think about it. I'm like, wow, it's like almost 25 years.
Yeah.
Right.
So like imagine, and there was people before me because I saw someone at the funeral she was speaking. It was like the late 80s. So when she was at like that's like even before my time. So like just you imagine all those little conversations, people you run into who has a connection. Oh well, I know Coach H from he had a lot of that. And he did. It's really nice that he did. And I hope to do the same with all my kids. I felt like the first time I got invited to one of my kids' weddings that I've had, and I was like, that was so exciting for me. I'm like, oh, to share, because that's special. Like to share in
those life
post softball. Yeah, exactly. Post softball, like life experiences.
Thank you, Coach, for joining us tonight. We really appreciate you sharing your memories and, of course, taking the time out of your busy schedule to be with us.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, Coach.
Another perspective, player, co-coach, opposing coach. Every realm.
Yeah.
Well, we do have our next.
And I could see Coach H. Like knowing him, like he'd probably like hated losing that game, but then he'd probably be like, you're the only one. Like I'd want to lose. Like I could definitely see Coach H. But him's like I want him in that game. So.
All right, we have our next guests coming in.
Okay.
Joe, I know him as Joey Clams.
Okay.
But I want to. I'll let you introduce the actual. I don't want to get the name correct. We have a parent of a player at IC joining us.
Okay.
So we'll
I just want to make sure it is.
It is because she texted me about the name.
Okay.
Yep.
Hey, I'm on.
How are you? We're a few minutes late. Thank you for waiting. Good. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good. Would you just introduce yourself to the audience and let them know how you knew Coach H?
Okay, my name is Joey Fidetti. They call me Joey Clams. I know H from my daughter. She played with the Pride. At 12 years old, she played for the 14U Pride, and the 2 coaches was Anthony Lareza, may rest in peace, and Coach H. And that's where I first met those. I met H at that time. And,
thank you, Joey, for joining us. And I guess what we wanted to, we had a former assistant coach. When we had a former player, we're going to talk to some more players. But as a parent, if you could just, explain a little bit your connection, your friendship, and what you thought of Coach, through a parent's eyes of, like you said, your daughter wasn't just high school, it was younger, 12 years old, and now he grooms her and he coaches her for the 6 years, 7 years, whatever he coaches her for.
Yeah, so I met him at the Pride, and he recruited her for high school. But as soon as I met him at the Pride, I liked the way he handled himself on the field and the way he coached. He was disciplined and, not, having like tough, but, encouraging tough. And that's what I was looking for. And he came to the house and he says, I want you, to come to the school and I can help you in any way. And he helped, and we formed a good relationship. He did a lot for my family, because what he did for my daughter was big. Get her in that school where she wanted to go, and play 4 years there, where they won 4 state titles. They're champions together, and it was the best 4 years of her life. And she's in a good place right now in college and getting her phys ed degree. And he was, listen, I liked the way he coached. I liked his attitude. I liked his toughness, his discipline on the kids. But he loved the kids. He was their best friend. He was like their big brother. He did a lot for everybody. I mean, I heard stories the other day at the eulogy from one of the basketball girls. Like, I got really choked up, which he said, he changed my life. He changed my family's life. There was no way I ever dreamed of getting to a private school. He says, Mario, I'll make it happen. As long as you make it happen in the classroom and on the court, I'll make it happen. And she says, he broke down walls for me. She goes, he saved my life and my family's life. And, I heard a couple of stories like that. And, he was a good guy. We used to go out, get lunch, have a couple of, adult sodas. And I used to bring him a sausage and pepper sandwich when I used to make them, or a dish of linguine and clam sauce when I made it. He liked that. And he was always there. He was a phone call away. Anytime there was a problem with me in the high school, or I called him and he says, don't worry about it, I'll take care of it. And he did. He was there. Let me tell you something. Without that guy, I don't know where we would have been. He really helped. And the foundation that he built before that, their softball program really wasn't at a good level, and he brought him up. He started a foundation, bringing a girl named Jordan, and then he brought in Andy Lapika, and he brought the pitcher in. You need a pitcher in softball. She was top pitcher in New Jersey, one of the top pitchers, club team in New Jersey, Sarah Pini. He brought her in as the foundation, brought Gabriella next year for shortstop. He was strong up the middle, and he wound up winning 7 in a row. His last game he coached at IC, he walked off the field as a state champion. I don't know what else to say about him. He was a great guy. Funny, we had a good time. It was a guy like I could hang and get along with. It was had the same mentality almost.
You mentioned, Joey, how he helped your daughter, and other players had the same story of helping them get into or have the opportunity that they had. And I feel like we're also hearing how he helped them. I just feel like, and your daughter played collegiate softball, or is playing collegiate softball.
Yes.
that sport even just opens doors after high school. Their involvement.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's she's on a really good path, thank God, knock on wood. And like I heard the eulogies the other day, that it was it was touching the way they says, if it wasn't for him, I don't know where I would be. Yeah. You could run down. He helped a lot of kids out, and he was all about the kids.
He was, and Joe, 2 stories, and I remember we were telling Coach Pellegrino in the beginning, where it was a video that you sent me with your daughter when you guys when they won the state title, how, and I've seen him do this a couple of times when they gave him the trophy, and he was boom, right to the girls, like, you guys won this, it's your trophy. I've seen him do that numerous times. It was always about the girls, and as a sports fan, listening to him, it reminds me of when you hear stuff like how Krzyzewski and even like John Calipari, you hear all these players in the NBA and they always say, this guy does everything first. It's not about on the court. It's about what he does off the court. And I think that's what H did with the girls, we hear stories of, it's not just softball and basketball. It's what he did for families, what he did, 20 years later, still connecting with those players. And I think that's just what it puts him on a different level of the kind of guy he was, He was
like a good friend to them too. You know what? There was the girls at the school were coming from different neighborhoods and areas and probably felt uncomfortable, but he made them feel welcome and them fit right in. Like everybody's the same. We're all together. When the girl said the other day, she says, I was hungry. He says, guy, get in the car. We went to Burger King. Anytime she was hungry, say, here's 20, go to Burger King. Go here, go get pizza, whatever you got to do. He took care of those girls, and he made them feel comfortable, and you know what? And that boosted them up. That made them feel encouraged and get on the right path to do what they're doing. And every story I'm hearing is all successful.
Yep.
You know, you need a guy like that or a woman like that in your life, a mentor, a coach, or a teacher, somebody like that. You know, to help somebody. That's what they're there for. And he's the guy that did it.
Yep.
Very nice. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Okay, no problem. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
Thank you,
of
Joe.
Course.
All right, bye.
Thank you. Okay, so Coach, that's Joey Fredette, parent.
Yep.
And
Of a player that we're going to have on.
right now.
Yeah. I want to double check our waiting room here. So we do have, I'm going to let Gabby back. She's just got her camera off right now.
Okay.
So I was going to say want to bring them all in together? Or do you want to bring in?
Yeah, let's bring in the two players,
Okay,
and then we'll
all
bring.
right,
Yeah, let's
sounds
do that.
good.
We could bring them
So,
in.
Admit. So Kaylee is going to be joining us, and then
Gabrielle, right?
and then Gabby is going to be here too. All
Okay.
right, let's just let them get connected. Hi guys, thanks so much for joining us.
Hi, how are you?
Good. So if you guys wouldn't mind just introducing yourselves and tell our audience how you guys knew Coach H. Kaylee, you want to start?
Sure. Hi, my name's Kaylee. I graduated in the class of 2019. I played for H for 4 years and won 4 titles with him. And I met him. He recruited me in 8th grade going into freshman year. And ever since then, he's been my coach all throughout high school.
All right. And Gabby, how about you?
My name is Gabriella Fredette. I was a shortstop at Immaculate Conception for 4 years. I graduated in 2017. I knew H since I was 12 years old. Played under his belt at that time, and kept reaching out to him since after high school. So
We, we've had the pleasure of hearing from someone who coached with him. Then we had Coach Fasano, who I'm sure you guys know, who was a former player, co-coach, and rival coach.
Mm-hmm.
And then Gabby, as you know, your father was on giving us a parent perspective. So you guys can give us really the most recent, more current player kind of perspective about what it was like to play for Coach H. Would you guys mind speaking to that a little bit?
yeah, of course. Kaylee, you want to speak first?
Sure. Ever since I've known H, he's been very tough and very, he had so much fire in him. And I think me personally, that was put in me. And I think I gave that out on the field for him. I was a pitcher at IC, and he was always there for me. He always had my back. He called pitchers for me for the first 2 years, and then we had Jordan, but he put so much fire in me, and I think that really helped me get through 4 years, and it was the best 4 years of my life, and I'm really, really glad that we got to experience that with him. And he wasn't just, like you guys been talking about, he wasn't just a person, a coach on the field, but off the field. He was always there for us. In school, we always came up to him with problems or anything that he had to deal with, and he got down to it, and he did anything he could for us. And I think that was really important about H, that even off the field, he was there for us. Like, he came to my graduation party. Like, he was very, very close with us.
Before we get to Gabby, a couple of comments. Maureen West O'Gorman put a couple hearts up there. Coach Cislano saying just got on. And Sherry Batelli, who was an assistant coach at first when he started at IC. Great job, guys. Definitely will miss H. Thank you for watching.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Gabby, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, H was definitely a role model in our lives. And, the moment, when I came into IC, I just knew, we were just projected to win every year. That was the goal. So, the first year when I got there, they just recently won the state champs back in 2013. And then I just knew from there, I'm going to be a shortstop for this team. And, everybody has each other's back. And, he just set the tone. And, you could just tell the environment going into IC we just know like we were a bunch of sisters and we're here to win. And there was no type of drama like that because he didn't tolerate it. And we all had one goal, was to win and to make papers and make a statement for the school, because IC is obviously a smaller school than other Catholic schools. So it was such a statement we had to make. And from that on, like every year of high school I was there, we were winning, and we just knew that's what we had to do. So H definitely put that on us to like say, hey, this isn't just another high school game. This is something that we have to achieve and keep going for it. So H was just not just a coach. He was just, he was like another father figure. He was like a big brother. He was always there for us on and off the field, like Kaylee was saying. In school, like if I had an issue with whatever it could be, something, I did maybe in school, or what other like teammates we had issues, and he was always there to step in and help us out. So, we'll definitely miss H and his humor, because it was definitely one of a kind.
Sherry Telly saying "squat up, Gab" is her comment.
Yeah, that was a throwback in 2014, because we were when we won the states, and I was basically made like a motto. It's like, oh, we're squad, so we all had down our sweatshirts when we all won and stuff. So
well, funny story. Your other coach, Jody Valenti, who is Kurt's sister, my sister-in-law. When I was getting your number, she forwarded the contact, and it said squad, right? So I was like, "Is squad Gabby?" And she was like, "Oh my god, I never changed it in my phone." Yeah, so it was just funny. I'm like, "Oh, squad up, there it is."
Mikey Proc commenting, Coach H is a living legend. I got one for you two guys, because the thing that kind of like blew Jen and I away when we were reading some comments on coaches' pages from all you guys, going back to the IHA days, a lot of people, and it was like, you look at it and you're like, I'm not saying the word funny, but when you look at it, you're like, wow, like a lot of girls would be like, you made the comment before, like, wow, like, like when I got there as a freshman, I mean, he was all over me, getting me, but in the end, like, it made me such a better player. So you two guys, especially when you were younger, and you guys, and he was a little hard on you guys and stuff like that. How was it like back then for you guys? But then looking forward, like how you guys are now, college players and stuff like that. When you look back at it, you're like, wow, like I'm glad I had that tough coaching by H.
I think, especially as a pitcher's perspective, he was very on me, very, he was in your face, but he was very stern. And I think that's because he knew our potential and he knew what we can do. And he knew that level we can reach. And I think that helped me throughout all 4 years, because H did that freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. He never stopped that when he was coaching. And as a college player today, I think that I'm not fazed by any coach. I go out there and I take criticism, constructive criticism, and I take it because H, he shaped me into the player I was and who I am today. And I think that shaped me who I am on the field, towards coaches, towards players. He always taught us to be a team player, be there for everyone. He always said we're a family, we need to work together. And I still bring that into my college playing. We're a family, we need to stick together. We play with heart. And I think H really put that in our brains, that he was stern, but he knew our potential. He knew where we can be.
And what about you, Gab?
Yeah, I mean, I love that type of intensity. Like, I like a coach like that. I don't like a coach that wouldn't be on me and just wouldn't care. And I think when I got that when I was young and all the way up till I met H, and I just knew like exactly what a coach like should be and how a coach should be treating their players. And like now, like going into like the college level, nothing really phases me. If anything, that's just like what a coach is. I think sometimes we forget that when now you see the younger generations and how everybody's like, oh, like a coach is too stern or a coach is like too much on me. Like, no, like sometimes that coach can see the potential in you, and like you have to take that constructive criticism and use that throughout your years of playing. I think there's coaches that are like, there's not many left like that. So I think now when, I'm getting older and I want to be a coach down the line, I'm thinking, I'm going to use that type of coaching like model that he had and, put that on my players. So I'm sure Kaylee agrees the same way.
And I feel like at the end of the day, even though he was on you, strict, yelling at you to do this and that, at the end of the day, he would give you a hug and be like, "Great game! Like you did awesome today."
Well, I feel like
Always.
you guys both, you each used a phrase. Like Kaylee, I believe you said he lit a fire in you, and Gabby, you said that he had high expectations. And I feel like it's like the marriage of those two things, you know, and like you said, and also, but yet that caring side off the field, you know, like I'm gonna demand the best of you here. I know you have it. I'm gonna draw it out of you. And you guys were the type of players, like you said, that you know, you wanted to play that way, you know, so that's but again, that nice, that mix of also, though, you know, knowing the off the field, like you could go to him, like, you know, that true mix of those things.
We got a comment saying, proud of you ladies from Mrs. Catrona. Coach H will be missed.
Oh, nice.
And my last thing for you guys is, and again, it's something that I witnessed with Coach H and I thought was awesome. You know, Jen, we always joke, he came on our show a couple times and Jen would start reading off like 7 state titles in a row, 14 sectional titles. And, you know, he always made it about you guys, you know, like Gab, you sent the video, your dad sent it in of where like he gets the trophy when you guys won it and boom, like right to you guys, you know, he always made it about you guys. And I thought that's something where, I mean, listen, like it's unmatched on what he won. I mean, it's just, you know, I don't know how many Jen was saying, you know, 7 in a row. How many in IHA? Another 7. So like 14 sectional titles, you know, and it was like, you know, he joked about it, but it was never like about that. It was always about the girls were great teams. The girls worked hard. So what do you guys got to say about that?
I think that's just what makes a great coach. You know, it's not like, oh, it's me that's coaching them. No, he knew what players he had, and we just showed it out on the field, and we gelled together. That's basically it. Like going into the fall of each year of high school, we knew we were going to win. Like he had no doubt in his mind, like, oh, I don't need to worry about what my team can do because I know we're just going to win at the end of the day. Like one of my favorite years was my senior year because of just like how many games we played. We went it to the TOC. We were 5th seeded, and we didn't expect we were going to make it all the way against to IHA. You know, so we just knew like that's what a great coach is. Like he made it all about us because when you think about it, we came into 8th grade and we were picking what school we want to go to. And we just knew like, okay, I want to go to IC because I know we're going to win. And he put that expectations on us and he had high standards. And that's what we came into IC to do, was just to win and have fun. We made a bond and I have best friendships until this day, you know, with everybody.
I think Gabby's senior year, he made a speech to us at the end of the TOC and he said, "You guys are my idols." And I think that just speaks words because he always did everything for us. And it wasn't about him. It was about all of us, including him as well. And I think as a team, we did everything for him just as he did for us. And I think that was really special.
Nice.
Comment from Nicole Minio. So proud of you, Gabby and Kaylee. Blue Wolf love for Coach H.
Oh, nice. Very nice. Girls, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It was a pleasure to have you guys share, you know, your stories and your memories. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Okay,
Another
so
player perspective.
Yeah.
So nice. We have.
And you know what doesn't seem different is like how it was in IHA when, you know,
Right,
for San Jose in the
exactly.
99, it was the same thing.
Yeah,
you know, like
exactly.
Coach,
Yeah.
that's one thing about Coach is like from knowing him through obviously through Jody and going to some of the games is like H was H, he didn't change, you know,
Right.
like it was that's
Yep.
who he is.
Yep.
And I give a lot of credit to him, and I think a lot of the players, just like these girls just said, they they like that
Yeah.
that's how he was. So
All right, so we're gonna bring in our last guest. We have Kurt's sister Jody joining us, and Mike to give us another from the coaching perspective. Hi guys, can you hear me? Okay.
Hi, I can hear you.
All right, good. If you guys don't mind introducing yourself to the audience and tell them how you knew H. Jody, you want to start?
Yes, hi, my name is Jody Valenti. I coached with H for many, many years. I know it's over a decade, but I didn't really count in my head. It's
Jody, by the way,
over
Sherry's
a
saying
decade.
hello.
Hi, Sherry. Well, that's what I wanted to start with. So I coached along with Sherry Vitelli. She was one of our assistants for many years. I don't know exactly how much the number. The same as Jordan Miller, as well as Kelsey Hannon, and even Rob Stern was on our staff. I believe like 1 or 2 years. So I've known H for over a decade, and it was H was just a great person. He was a unique person, and just to start out, many people maybe not agreed with the way he coached or the way he did things, but the guy is a legend, and with over 600 wins, that's an amazing accomplishment. And I mean, records are meant to be broken, but that's a tough record to definitely try to break. Being the most winningest coach in New Jersey is an amazing accomplishment. And as far as what he's done, he literally built dynasties. I mean, he did it at one school, IHA, which is a powerhouse and is still a powerhouse, with Coach Fasano following in what he started and Diana playing for him. So he built a dynasty there. And then as well as he did the same thing at IC, because if you ask a lot of people or a lot of high schools, they didn't even know where or who IC was. And then he just went in there as with the basketball and softball program and put IC on the map. So hopefully, the coaches now and the staff will follow in his traditions and just keep IC on that map, because what has accomplished has been beyond amazing. And I know him as a friend as well as a coach, which is really, really nice. Like both Mike and I have been friends with him for many, many years. And he is one funny guy.
How about you, Mike?
First of all, I'd like to say that it is a very sad thing that Coach H passed on, but I know he's up there now talking softball, with the main man Jesus. I had the pleasure of meeting H through Kurt's sister Jody. I never was really around girl high school sports or in general at all, but as I got to know H throughout the years, like I was like, wow, like this guy is really good at what he does. Like he put his heart, he put his soul into softball, into basketball, into cross country, into volleyball. Whatever he did, he gave 110%. And I saw Gabby when she was a freshman, and all the way to her senior year, like I saw him like just take girls with, like, not saying that Gabby was average, but with average talent to make them perform at the highest level to win. Like he was hard, but he was fair, but he demanded that they give 110%, and he treated all his players the same way, throughout the years. And more importantly, like Gabby said, like the first year of TOC when IC lost to IHA in that walk-off double, after the game, like you would think the coach would be upset, but like he was more worried about the girls being upset. Like, don't worry, you guys did your best. I'm proud of you. You got nothing to hang your head of. We weren't expected to be here. And then he closed it out with, you know what, we're going to come back next year and win it. We're going to win it. That was his attitude. And like, I got to know him off the field too, personally. Like we became very close, like we used to go to breakfast together, go to lunch together, and like just have conversations about life in general. Like, he asked me, how you doing? How's Jody? How's your family? And like, I got to see a side of H that I don't think a lot of people really knew. Like, he may have portrayed that he was like, tough guy, but he really wasn't. He was a gentle soul. And, like it's sad that he moved on, but like I said, like Jody said, he's a living legend. And I don't think that his numbers would ever be surpassed, his records, and what he did for his, legacy for that school, the high school. I think he actually he put them on a map. Like people know about them now, like in the softball world, and like he should be remembered for that, for what he did.
Now, real quick, I remember, Mike, and you just made a great point, Jody. We talk about like the tournament of champions, and it's just amazing how you're saying the tournament of champions, and you're taking a smaller Catholic school where, Mike, you or both of you guys just said it before, where, people probably didn't even know who IC. They didn't even know who IC was, and now they're 3 outs away from winning, playing with a powerhouse IHA. I mean, I remember that year it was like, all right, well, they're not going to win the first round. Won the first round. Exactly. Not going to win the next round. Win the next round. Now they're in the tournament, the TLC final, and you're playing like ridiculous. I mean, IHA, you got the Group 4 champ, the Group 3 champ.
Right, of course.
It's like the best teams around, and IC is right there. And I just give him like credit where, like you said, he did it from scratch with the IHA. But then when he came, and it's just so much even more impressive to IC to make them, not a competitive team. I mean, ranked number 2, ranked in the Bergen County tournament top 3, tournament of champions, 7 state titles. I mean, it's ridiculous what he did over there.
And like the one thing about H, like every year, like I would ask him, like, H, why you play so many games? Like, you're wearing yourself out. He goes, I wouldn't have it any other way. He's like, I don't believe in, like, he always said, I don't believe in playing cupcakes. Like, I want the best competition to prepare ourselves for the state tournament. Like, he really, like, he knew about the county tournament, like how far he would go, but he knew it was showtime when it came to the state tournament. He knew that he was going to win, and he went into it like not with an attitude, but he was confident. And you could see it by the way the girls played. Like, and like, he would even come to me, like, I never coached softball before. I played baseball in high school, and Mikey, what do you think? I say, H, I put her here, bat her there. And like, he would take it. And sometimes he'd be like, you're nuts. No, I wouldn't do it. And then, and then like, he would do it. And after the game, he goes, you know what, Mikey, you were right. Like, he was able to take advice and plug it into his coaching style. Like, he wasn't the coach. Like, I would compare him, like, this is the big comparison, like Bill Belichick. It's either his way or no way. And H was opposite. It's going to be my way, but we're going to do it collectively.
Jody, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Mike, you also said something, we've obviously been talking about the impact he had and obviously his accolades, but you know what, like, what we didn't really mention, and you did, and we'd be remiss if we didn't draw more attention to this. You said he poured his heart and soul into this, and, this doesn't just happen, I think it goes without saying, but we really didn't say it in so many words, and you did say how, he put everything into this, and I think that was part of the reason he was so hard on his kids. He's giving everything, and he wanted everything from them as well. Like, if I'm going to do this, I want you to give what I'm giving. And I think that's really, he put everything in, and I think that we need to, like, remember how he did that.
Yeah, but Jody, what? I'll ask Jody, because Mike made a great point, and Jody, I mean, you were on the field, and Sherry could probably say it too, where, when you have a rec, you have 17 titles. It's very simple to do, like what Mike just said, where it's like, I know everything. But as an assistant coach with him, you had Jordan, you had Sherry, you had yourself, you had the other coaches. He did listen to you guys. Jody, like, what do you think about that? Where it's like he did take your input. And I think that's, like I said, it's very easy for him to go and say, I win with what I did, but he didn't do that. He listened to all you guys. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so within the staff, like, H was always kind of like the bad cop, but in a sense, he was the big dog. He was in charge. And then the other coaches, like the assistants or myself, just, being the statistician doing the book and stuff, like, every little tip that we gave him, he might have not listened at first. Like, I'd be like, H, they're playing behind the bag. Put the bunt down, H. Put the bunt down, H. And finally, he put the bunt down. So, like, he would listen. I mean, H was in charge. He's the head coach. He has the right to do what he needs to do in order to, get the runs and get the win. But he really did, and he gave, like, Jordan and Sherry jobs as, like, if you're in charge of the outfield, who's calling the pitch count. Hannon would be in charge of the outfield. So everyone played an important role, like, within the coaching staff. And H gave us the opportunity to do that, where there are coaches that'll be like, no, it's my way, or that's it. But he actually, like, gave us the opportunity to put in our, knowledge and opinions or suggestions. And, he went with it. And that's what was the best thing about it. It was like, he was as much as people think he was tough and, a tough, hard guy, but for me, he was kind of easy to work with. Like, I mean, yeah, he always had to be right at times, but you know what? That's just H. But he was a great person, both on and off the field. Definitely.
Sherry,
and
your coach Sherry is agreeing, saying that he was always open to input, and not just from the coaches, but he would listen to his players too.
Of course. And that's the thing. Like, he just made such a positive impact on all the players. Like, even players that might have not always gotten even into the game or in the starting lineup. You know, everyone believed in him and like just followed his lead. And they just, even if they didn't play the game, they love H to this day. And like, you know, they just followed along with what his purpose and passion was for the game. And they just believed in him. And that's why it was a very successful program at both high schools.
By the way, I know H would love this because, Mike, you're getting yelled at. That's all I'm going to tell you.
Uh-oh.
Gabby Fredette is saying, hey, Big Mike, I was no average player. Thank you.
Oh, I said not that she wasn't, but he was able to take.
Oh, I'm just saying,
talent.
that's probably Coach H telling her, get it, Mike, because they're yelling at you.
Gabby knows that she's my favorite shortstop.
Okay, there you go.
There we
That's
go.
all
It's
that
good.
matters.
Everything's good
And
now.
if I can, just one more thing.
Of course.
Coach H, what he did was like you watch ESPN Game Day every Saturday. What they talk about the tradition, the alumni, the passion. He instilled that in his players. Like I met girls that played for him back in like 2010. That they come back to the games every year, and it was a family atmosphere. Like we had so much good times together. Like even when we traveled to, what was it, Jody, Pennsylvania, Mudville? Yeah, like we traveled to Pennsylvania for a softball tournament in the middle of a field. And as you drive up to the field, there was a big lake and there was a dog sitting in the lake and the dog was catching the foul balls. I'm like, Jody, where are we? And like, we were in a tournament and like people knew who H was and we're in Pennsylvania. Like they knew the program. Like he made IC an image that's never going to dull, that's never going to diminish. And I just hope that the new staff would carry on the tradition and keep it that way.
Nice, very nice.
Any final thoughts for on Coach H?
I miss him.
He's a legend. He's a legend, and he's looking down on all of us. And
he's saying shut up right now.
Yeah, no, you know what he did today, Mike?
Probably.
I was telling Jen he didn't know if he wanted us to do it, so he shut Facebook down for 6 hours tonight. We didn't know if we were going to have the show tonight.
And the one thing too is he was a diehard Jets fan, and he always said, "I just want the Jets to win a game." And
they won it for him yesterday.
Yep,
they won it. Sherry saying Coach H was truly one of the best. He will be missed so much.
Thank you guys for coming on.
The
Much
truth.
appreciated.
you're welcome.
you're
Thank
welcome.
you guys.
Thank
Hey.
you. Have a good night.
We'll see you at Pink, Kurt.
There you go. And Sherry's saying that he's happy the Jets won.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I'm not sure. Was Coach H a Jet fan? But did he tell us that? I'm saying.
Oh, probably.
He
because
probably
you
did.
must have asked
I
him.
did,
You
I
must
did.
have asked him. Yeah.
But
for
no,
sure.
he was again. You know, it's good that we did the show tonight. You know, listen, we want to thank H for always coming out. Every time we would just go and say, hey, you know, Coach H, we need you. Huge Jets fan. We would say, hey, H, we need you tonight. What do you want? I'll be on. He popped right on.
100%.
So, you know, it's awesome. Jerry Pateria, a great friend. Oh, and Mets. Jets and Mets. That's the combo. That's
It
the
is
combo.
Usually the band
69,
combo.
70 combo. Jerry sounds like a great man and great coach. Absolutely, Jerry.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Legend.
Coach, legend, mentor, friend. You know, we're glad we were able to honor his memory in this way tonight. Thanking everybody who took the time to come on and speak with us, comment, watch, something that can help, you know, with dealing with his sudden passing.
Absolutely. And again, Coach H always will be, you know, in our high school show. He was part of it from the beginning, and we will always keep him. Coach Sis, Coach, great coach, and man, rest in peace, Coach. Rest in peace, Coach H. And to end the show, we are going to play the video slide, which you did a great job of. One more time of
Before
Coach
you
H.
start the video, I did pull these all off of Facebook, so people who posted things, thank you, enabled us to really encapsulate, you know, so much of him. So I hope you guys enjoy it.
For Coach H, again, I know he's watching down. He's probably smiling, saying, you know, something about the show, maybe critiquing the show a little bit. But no, we wanted to do this for Coach H. So, Coach H, this is for you. And you know, rest in peace, Coach H.